As part of our history project, we visited the village of Hambledon, situated in Hampshire. We discovered buildings which were no longer being used for their original purpose, and also talked to some of the residents about the changes that have taken place over the years. But first of all, let's show you some of the interesting features of the village.
This is the lovely view of Hambledon one gets from the cottage, owned by two of the oldest residents. Let's go in and meet them both.
Let us meet Mrs. Taylor. Hello, Mrs. Taylor. Over the years, has there been any changes you have disliked in the town?
No, I don't think there's any changes we have disliked, except that we do miss our shops, because we did have so many shops, and we've only got now two shops and a post office in the village.
And how many were there when you were young?
There are, I should think about eight shops, quite eight, seven pubs and 8 shops.
Have the shops all changed just to houses now?
No, I don't think so. They just closed. I think they had to, for the lack of trade or something. I don't know why. And of course all the young people, you see, have to go out of the village for their jobs, because there's no industry here, only farming in the village. So I suppose that's made an awful lot of difference.
Is there any other changes you dislike?
No, except that the buses, they're not very plentiful now and not very good. You know, having to go to Waterlooville, because we have to go to Denmead for our clinic, which is rather a long way. We have got a doctor's surgery down here, but if we want medicines, we have to go to the clinic in Denmead. When you're getting old, you know, that's a bit of a...
And what was the transport like about 30 years ago?
30 years ago, well, there were coaches and buses. That's 30 years ago. But when I was a little girl, of course, they were horse-drawn brakes and buses and things.
Here's Mr. Taylor. How long have you lived in Hambledon?
Well, I practically all my life, well, not when I was young, from the age of, say, 15 years. And I've been here ever since, in this little village. So I've had a nice time in it. And I've been into everything. I've been in there, we had a band here, and we used to have church parades Sundays with the old people that have been away to the war, and we used to have some quite nice things going on here.
How long have you lived in this house?
Oh, about how many years? 63 years.
You said earlier on you didn't have any water. Where did you get it from?
Well, we didn't when we first came here. The water was the other side of the road, and it was a big well, because we had no water at all, neither well nor nothing. And I used to have to go over there and get the water and bring it over here. So that was really hard work. But then the days come after a good many years, the water was put on and everybody had it. So I was very grateful about that. I was, because it made such a great change to work, not having to keep carrying water about.
How many people use that well then?
How many people I sat with?
How many people used to share the well as well?
Oh, how many? Oh, well, no, the other lady hadn't. Well, us. Only us. Now what we going to say?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is the village store. It was first established in 1863. It has now been modernised and is presently run by Mr. and Mrs. Clark.
Were there any chain stores?
No chain stores in Hambledon. No, the nearest were in Waterloo, which is about 5 miles away. There were sort of group grocery shops. We in fact belonged to a group from 71 to about 5 years ago. But we pulled out and paddling our own canoe now.
What entertainments did you do?
What, in the shop? When I was younger? Cricket, football.
This is where cricket started.
That's right, yeah. We used badminton, do badminton now. But when we were young, it was got on our bikes and rode out to the cricket pitch or football pitch and played a game usually, and went up the woods, built dens. Had a super time really. No less vandalising of property.
What goods do you import from other countries?
We don't import anything. We buy a lot of imported.
Where do you get your cheese from? Is that from a local farm? Or
Cheese?
Yeah.
At the moment, it's about the best cheese you can get in the cheddar line. We've also got Stiltons, which we cut whole. They're a very nice cheese. But these, or one similar to this, we used to get in wooden boxes, and they were very, very heavy. That weighed about £60. They used to come in at about £160. That's when I first started. They were quite big and bulky things to lift about. Well, you can lift that one if you like. That's a cheese wire. You just cut it through the cheese. There used to be wooden handles, but we've progressed to plastic.
Make any of your own stuff to sell here?
Yeah, we've got these homemade quiches, steak kidney pies. My wife's a cook, yeah. Very good cook. Works very hard.
Now let us meet Mr. and Mrs. Thatcher. Do you know, was there any competition between the shops?
Yes, quite a lot. After about the mid-50s or so, when things became more plentiful in the shops, the manager at this particular branch where I was at Havant, the manager and I were of an age, and we used to like the competitive spirit, you see, and we used to buy in things and make a window display of them, and then they used to send me out to see what the other shops in our local area were selling theirs at, and then we used to come back and get together and see if we could undercut them in price-wise.
Oh.
But there were about 4 or 5 other shops in grocery shops in the area.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of competition for quite a number of other commodities, like tomatoes for one, and sausages. We used to do quite a number of panes of sausages per week, and used to put them all in the window and so on. And that was it was quite an exhilarating thing as well, you know.
Yeah.
Particularly at the end of the day, if we sold everything that we had in the morning, it was quite good. I remember while I was at Havant, we were the first branch of Pinks to take £1,000 in 1 week, and in those days, in the mid-50s, that was quite a lot of money for a grocery shop to take.
Yeah.
And it was done mainly by good management and a good staff as well. You know, as you know, pure teamwork.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the same as it is today. You know, teamwork pays off every time.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different now to what it was in those days. The competition is I would say, is very much harder now than it was then.
Yeah.
Very much harder, yeah.
We've got more variety and things to choose from.
Oh yes, yes, whole lot more, yeah, yes.
Here we see the village bakery, owned by Mrs. Beams.
Mrs. Beams, how long have you sort of owned this shop?
Owned the shop from 1951, 36 years, and a few days.
Does any of your family used to run it before you did?
Not this shop, but the business as a whole was run by my father-in-law, to start off with down in Portsmouth before we came out here.
Yeah.
About 80 years ago, I should think. So it's been a family business for 80 years.
And do you do all your own baking on your premises?
Everything is baked on the premises and finished on the premises.
Do you want to really run this shop for a long time?
Well, I have run the shop for a long time.
Sort of
Yeah. But yes, I wouldn't like to see the shop close, but I really don't know what's going to happen to it, because as you can see, I'm not a youngster now, so I'm ready for retiring, and whether anybody wants to take it over or not is another thing.
Has this shop always been a bakery?
It has always been a bakery, yes.
How long have you lived in this area then?
In this area, in Hambledon, I've lived 36 years. But in the area, I've lived about 42, 43 years in the area, yes.
What do you think about all the changes, like changing old shops into houses and all that? Do you like it much?
Well, I think it's an awful pity that they have to change them into houses, but I can't see anything else for it. I mean, if people don't want to run shops, you can't make them run shops, and if they're going to run shops at a loss, then it's not worth it, really, is it?
Mm.
But it's a great pity that such a lot of little shops have to close down.
Mm.
I don't know what we'll have to do about it. We'll just have to make you youngsters eat an awful lot more, I think.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Come on.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'll have one of them, please.
One of these.
So.
15 then. That's the right day.
Thank you.
Bye.
As you can see, here we are at Hambledon, and here on the corner we have evidence that this is a shop. We think it is a saddlery because of the entrance to it. It has bowed doors and the windows go in. We've been using our evidence, which is photographs and books.
This shop over at Hambledon Garage used to be a barber's, then it was a bike shop and then a pram shop. The window up the top, which has been bricked in, was a tax window, and there is a hook sticking out of the side of the door there that used to be to tie up horses. The two pieces of metal sticking out on the right of the window is where there used to be a blind for the window, and you can see where the windows have been all bricked up around the existing ones.
This shop is Draper's, where they sell clothes and material. Around the bottom two windows you can see old bricks and new bricks, where the windows have been filled in. Big shop windows have been filled in and turned into a house. And there's grills at the bottom for ventilation for people who work down there. That's it.
We think this was the Draper's here. You can see where the bracket was for the sign was in the corner, and you can see where the door was bricked up, just there. And there's some hooks along the top of the windows where the shop sign could have been hung with the name on it. We think there was a cafe round the back as well, because in one of the photos it had cafe written on the side. Further along there was doctor's surgery, there's a sweet shop and a chemist.
This is the slaughterhouse.
And this was a door here which has been bricked up recently, which the cattle were stored through, which have been brought through here to be slaughtered in this room here.
There's a ring down there where the cattle are tied up to a ring there. There's a pulley just above here where you pull the animals by their feet, where the blood rushes to their head, and then there's two hooks there where you can hang the meat up. There's a shutter there where maybe you pulled the meat through somehow.
And the blood was strained into a gully or something, eaten out. It's a road.
Round the side of the building, you've got a door. This is the entrance to the bakery. At the front, you've got a smaller window at the bottom. There are new bricks and there are old bricks. Where the new bricks are, there was a bigger window. This was the window where you hung all the meat on the inside. On the next window along, bigger window at the side displayed the meat. This was the butcher's.
This used to be the butcher's. You've got hooks on the frame at the front of the house that you put the meat on. You've got flaps which open up into sort of tables that put chickens and stuff on. There used to be another door that opened out at the front for lorries and stuff to go in. What's that one? And the green sort of house used to be where they used to keep the horses in. You got the two doors to let the coach and stuff in, and the door at the top used to be for hay to put in and be brought out on a pulley to feed the horses.
With the introduction of supermarkets throughout the land, no longer are village stores able to survive because of the competition, and we feel that the quality of life within small communities such as Hambledon suffers as a result. We hope you've enjoyed the visit as much as we did.
We would like to thank the residents of Hambledon for their help and cooperation.